Jimmy, you want to go first?
Sure. When do you feel most aligned with your soul, not your role? Ooh. All these questions, they always kind of make you take pause. I don't have like a specific example that I can give, like, in the mornings or when I do when I do this particular thing, but I would say often is when it's the most instinctive, but yet you act on confidence that instinct is not like a baser instinct to be petty or to be whatever, but to be kind or to be helpful. And actually I do have an example, and it's not like let me give an example to like self-praise and all that, right? Make myself look good. But like an example I would give would be a few months ago, I went to a restaurant, right? And we were seated next to this table. There were 4 of them. The restaurant was pretty busy. It was a Japanese restaurant. And then they were a little bit understaffed. And the table next to me, it was a couple and 2 kids. And one of the kids spilled a glass of water. So it just went all over the table. The mom felt a little bit kind of overwhelmed and a little bit embarrassed, I feel. And in that moment, my first thought was like, oh yeah, there's not a lot of people, it's understaffed, they look like they haven't been here before, but I have. So I just instinctively looked and I saw like, oh, that's where they kept the paper napkins, right? And I just went over and I grabbed like a thick bunch and I handed it to her, and then I said, there you go. Those moments where I don't overthink, like you know that's the right thing to do, and you do it, and I feel like that's the most aligned.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. And it's almost like you're not thinking with your brain, but you're thinking with your mind and which is your soul, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh, let me try.
You're not like rationalizing it. And,
correct.
Is this reasonable? Is this not? Yeah.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sydney?
Yes.
What do you now trust more than advice? The will of God. Yeah. So discernment, spiritual discernment for even everyday things. I don't normally actually ask for advice from other people unless it's specific to, say, legal matters or financial matters, or something I need to learn to do then that's different. But on life issues, I'm not one to do that. So I rather to just turn to God and ask, just show me the way. So that's where my trust lies.
Okay, that resonates. I've shared this with friends before, where I say I don't usually ask for it. Some people perceive that as arrogance. And I go like, well, that's how I do it. This is not because I don't want to take advice from you guys. It's just that for me it doesn't gel. Our life experiences are very different, and we all come from different perspectives. It's hard for me to take advice from people who either never lived it or haven't done work, that sort of thing, right?
And people are very colored by their own experiences too.
For sure.
So inevitably the advice they give you will be what shaped their lives and what worked for them, which may not work for you.
Exactly. What do you need to return to when you need to remember your own strength? Simply just my breath, like coming back into my breath, my breathing, and then I'll take the dog out. Usually I'll take the dog out for a walk, focus on my breathing. And because I feel like there are a lot of things, most things in life we cannot control. The only thing we can control is breathing. And when we're breathing, we're reminded of our connection with the divine, connection with the creator, right? You want to call it breath of God or call it whatever you want to call it. The breath, right? It's a very powerful reminder that we are alive, and that's within our power. And, even if we involuntarily decide not to breathe, right, it's very hard. Our body will force us, in a way to breathe. Yeah. So this is something that I do, the breath. So taking a deep breath, counting the breath, being conscious of breathing. It helps a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next, Jimmy again.
Back to me.
Was that a little yelp from the machine? No, right?
There was a...
Oh, I heard a you.
Yeah, there was some like music. What part of your identity still surprises you? Oh man, this is gonna sound so cliche, and I don't know if it's really answering the question, but lately I've been thinking that, you know how people always say that one's resolve, we always underestimate our own resolve, like humans, right? And I would say that bit still surprises me because I've never thought of myself as a strong person. And since young, I've always been like, a little bit shorter, a little bit thinner, I'm like, last one to be picked for like any sports team. They're always like, never mind, I don't pick him, he cannot run very fast or something
you
like
run
that, right?
very fast. What are you talking about? You run so
like
fast.
cannot run very fast and all this. So he's not going to be very good, as part of the soccer team or whatever. But so always had that thought, I know, probably that's true. But I think with age, I always return to the, there have been just several times in my life where things have been challenging, like situation, be it work, be it whatever, right? Or like here, moving to a new country, getting used to things and all that. And yeah, when I stop and think, it's always that I'm stronger than I thought. And I think that always surprises me. Still surprise me, less so, but still surprises me. Yeah.
I've never met you face to face, but then speaking to you, I mean, you do come across as someone with you're very grounded, very stable, and that's a strength. Yeah, you do come across as someone who's strong. Versus what you said at the beginning, like you're weak. No, I don't think that's not even. Yeah.
I think when you make up your mind that you want to achieve a certain goal, you do everything to get there. Yeah, I mean, that's what I know of you. Yeah.
That's true. When I want something really fast.
Right, yeah, you will just do it and whatever it takes. Yeah.
Yeah, I will work at it.
Yeah.
Ooh. Your cats.
Try not to wake them
The
up.
psycho one, is it?
Yeah, the psycho one.
When the helper comes and she gets all angry. Oh, seriously, tiptoeing around. I can't answer this question, I can't think of anything that I need to tiptoe around in my life. Even with very difficult relationships with people, for whatever reason, I have been able to just be honest, express my thoughts about situations. And to me, if it doesn't survive my honesty, then it wasn't real, or it wasn't meant to be. That deeper connection is not meant to be. Yeah. So I've always been able to just tell myself, it's fine. You need to be at peace. So just say whatever you need to say. And if it's not well received and the connection breaks, then so be it. Yeah. Yeah. Then at least I'm at peace. I know I've done my best. So yeah, that's my answer.
Nice. Thank you.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah. What do you love most about the way you've evolved? What do I love most? This is a hard one to think. I feel like my life has come full circle, right? I'm back to where I started. Before motherhood, I was working, doing what I'm doing, right? And then it kind of took it had to stop, or it took a hit, when motherhood happened. And then, so it's been, now my daughter is 20, right? And then she's left home. So when she left home, it's like, I have to pick up where I left off in terms of doing the work that I was doing. It feels now as if those years that she was around, it feels like I wasn't working. It feels like I didn't grow in terms of my work. But obviously I did lah. It just feels that way. And I think mostly it's because the way I evolved was different. And the evolution of that process is more like the mother in me, right? So it's a different direction. And now that I'm back into like having my own space and doing what I love, it feels like I pick up where I left off, but actually it's just my evolution. I continue from where I left off, in terms of my personal growth, personal commitment to the work that I want to do. So even though it feels like it's a different path, it's actually the same. And so what I love most is to be able to see the difference in how I evolve as a person versus how I evolve as a mother. It's very different, Actually, just this morning I was thinking about this question someone asked me, because she's never had kids, so she asked me, what is the experience like being a mother? And I said there's nothing I can compare it to, not even pets. Having pets, you can't compare having pets with being a parent. It's very different, and it's very hard to make a comparison. I feel like the past 20 years my life is just like one role, the way I evolve as a mother and the way I evolve as a person, right? It's just very different, even though they're intertwined. I don't know whether that answered the question, but wanted to share that.
Do you feel as a parent, I've always wondered, right? Do you feel as a parent that, especially you mentioning that, your daughter has, moved out of the house, so physically you are by yourself, that it is like when you enter motherhood, you have to play two roles or maybe change role. So it's like you, and then now you take on like another identity. It was you all the while, and then as a mom now it's you, and then it's you as a mother and as a caregiver.
Yeah.
Does that role, do you then come back like fully into yourself, or does it mean it's like, it used to be 100% you, then as a mom you become maybe 70 mom, 30 you, and then now it's the other way around, but you never fully like go back to like 100% you.
I think in the role as a mother, right, every decision you make, you have to take the kid into consideration, you take the child into consideration, because then it impacts. That decision you make is not just for you, right? The decision is also for your child. So you feel there's a lot of compromising. You do compromise yourself. There's a lot of, this is again very cliche. People say you sacrifice, in a sense. You sacrifice a lot about your own needs. But I also feel that because now my daughter is 20, right? I have stopped mothering her in that sense. Like, so that role of being a mother is no longer a very active role. And when we speak, right, on the phone, because she's in the UK now, the way we relate, she may still relate to me as, like mommy, of course, but I don't see her as I don't treat her as a child. I don't treat her as my like daughter, you better listen to me, that sort of thing. It's more like a friend, and seeing her more like an equal rather than someone who, so I've reminded myself very often when she was a child that I'm just the caretaker of this human being that needs to grow and evolve and to
find herself.
When she grows up, and now she's on that on that journey, and I can only watch and support or guide, but other than that, the role of being a mother don't really come into play that much. Yeah.
Do you think it would be different if she were living with you?
She was a teenager already. I mean, there were a lot of things that I did not take part in terms of making decisions. Like she went to international school, right? So she first, of course, English is the main language. Then Mandarin was actually the second language she took. She dropped Mandarin and she didn't even tell me. She took up Spanish. And when she dropped Spanish for French, I also didn't know. She just did it on her own. I'm like, huh? I find out after the fact, But for me, it's like, okay, she's learning to make that decision. She has to make that mistake. If it's a mistake, then it's a mistake, Then she has to live with it, There's nothing I can do about it. Yeah. So in that sense, I've given her a lot of freedom in that sense to make mistakes. Yeah. But I also put her in therapy. So I kind of subcontract the work out on her emotional health into someone else's hands, because she's not going to listen to me, right? She's my child. And so I put her in therapy so that I know that need is taken care of, and someone who's not me. For me, I feel that has been the best investment for her own well-being. Did
you choose a therapist for her, or she chose her own therapist?
At that time I had to choose, of course, but as she got older, the one that she has now is, I gave her a list, and then she has to pick her own and then make contact, and then
Nice.
Yeah. I commend you on that, and not, becoming, I guess, the parent of the
overbearing.
If I can't do it myself, then what kind of a parent am I? That fallacy of like, I have to be this, I have to be the teacher, the parent, the therapist, the everything.
Correct. Yeah. You can't. Yeah. You have to outsource certain things.
Yes, you do. And it's true, it takes a village.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
You can't do it all by yourself. You can't.
Well managed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
And she's very blessed to have this form of mothering. I mean, it is a form of mothering, one that gives her a lot of freedom to explore and learn from her own mistakes, and to enjoy her own successes too. Yeah.
What part of your emotional world do you guard most?
I find this an interesting question, because by saying that, then you're no longer guarding it.
That's true, right? It's kind of like a
Like, okay, I can answer that. In order to guard it,
in order to stay true to myself.
It's a trick question,
Yeah.
It's quite hard to answer too.
I think so.
Yeah, I was, okay, you know what? I, again, kind of interpreting the question as is and not.
Yeah.
My answer is related to what I said earlier on. And it's going to make me sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I promise I'm not. I would say the part that I got the most is when I need help. I realized that, I place a lot of emphasis on or value on strength. Like, resilience, resolve, inner strength, right? And at the same time, the part that I got the most is when I feel like I need help. I'm not good at asking for help, and it took me years to actually be able to say that. And saying that, I think it's a step in the right direction, but it still takes work to actually kind of go like, oh, I kind of need help, and all kinds. Yeah, so like even simple help, all the way to, of course, as we get more and more internal, right? Yeah. So I think that is the one that I still got the most, and I'm still trying to understand myself better. Yeah, I think it's like I said, I place value on strength, and for the longest time, I'm trying to unlearn the thing that I tag to asking for help equals weakness.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You help us understand you better by answering this question.
Yes.
Yeah, I love these questions.
What feels unfinished? The book I'm writing. No lah. No, not that. That is it. Honestly, that's not a priority. Yeah, it's just a fun project. So, what feels unfinished? Oh yeah, maybe so. It is the book. I'm okay with that. Yeah. I have actually accomplished quite a bit just this year alone. I wrote like 2 chapters in 2013 and I never touched it until this year or last year. I can't remember, maybe last year. And I did maybe another 5 chapters in just that year. And this year, like I told you, right, Shamala, I had December 12th as my published date or whatever. But I have not been able to do much. I mean, I did a bit of editing of it here and there, but life has just taken over and I've had no time to look at it. And I'm perfectly fine with it because it is not a life goal, believe it or not. It was just something I started on a whim. And I think that it's more like, okay, I can do it, so why not just give it a shot? So it's just not a priority. I think for me, living my life correctly, what I consider correctly, and taking care of my cats, my home, fulfilling all my responsibilities is way more important. Like even the day-to-day, the small day-to-day things are way more important than finishing this book, to be honest. And I'm perfectly fine with it.
Okay. That's nice to be at peace with something, right?
I'm fine to be the editor who never wrote a book. If it comes to that, if I die before I finish it, then so be it.
Okay.
You have to remember what you said in a recent episode about, I was trying to figure out who that was, but anyway, when you said about the boss that said, oh, if you miss the deadline but the publish, go to
nobody
print deadline by
dies.
day, it's fine. So you know,
nobody died, right?
Correct. Not like Singapore boss, but here that would say, if we truly, we're not saving lives in our work. Like it's good to take your work seriously, but we're not saving lives in our work.
Absolutely, like get your perspectives right. You know, at the end of the day,
That's wise. Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting.
What inner logic have you come to trust even when logic... What inner knowing have you come to trust even when logic disagrees? Everything about my life. Everything about my life. It defies logic, but I just go with the inner knowing. From how I'm looking after my pets, to how I'm being a parent to my daughter, to how I do my work. Everything. So, to give you an example, perhaps, okay, so my most recent, if I share a dream with you, my most recent dream that I've had, that I dream a lot, so I do, this is part of my inner work, right? So I dream and I keep a dream journal. So I use it as a reference to what's happening within my own consciousness. So one of my latest dreams was me being part of a game, something like Hunger Games or something. After that, like, things started falling apart, and the game keepers or game maker, right, started to like malfunction. And in the dream, I thought to myself, this is all fake, you know, this whole reality, this whole thing is just fake. I know the game is fake, and I know that, you know, whatever the outcome is all fake. They just put it up to show us and it's not real. Then I woke up from it, right? And then I think about my own life. I think about that a particular situation happening in my life, and I thought, okay, the dream really tells me, even though logically it doesn't make sense to think of it that way, but my dream is a strong indicator that that's not real. That's a reality that I cannot trust. Yeah, and I do have to trust my own inner knowing. Yeah. So and that's why a lot of things I do seems very, to most people it seems very rebellious, because like, why do you do that? Like, why don't you do this, or why don't you do that? Why don't you just follow? No, I can't, right? If I do, then it feels like I'm betraying myself. That's what I do in my life.
It makes me think of the word fear as an acronym. Falsehood appearing, false evidence appearing as reality. Yeah. So it's like smashing that fear because it's all not real. Anyway, and your inner wisdom is what is real and what will guide you, right, to make all your decisions.
That's interesting. I keep a dream journal too. Yeah.
How interesting.
Nice. Not a written one, because that would be way too much work for me. But I typed it into my phone. When I wake up, if I had a dream and I wake up, before I even do anything else, I would grab my phone and just quickly type as much as I can remember. It's quite interesting.
So what do y'all do with your dream journals, your journaling? It's quite interesting that you both have dream journals. And
sometimes I share it with people if I dream of them. Yeah, and I'll be like, hey, I dreamt of you. And then, at the risk of sounding like weird, right? I'll be like, oh, I dreamt of you like here. And they're often surprised because they expect like a 2-liner. Like, I dreamt of you and we were having coffee, right? But it's like a full
story,
correct.
With chapters and episodes.
Yes, and often the response is like, oh, that's interesting. But there was one recent one where I dreamt and I sent to these 2 friends who were in the chat group. And one of them replied with such a insightful reading. First, I didn't expect from that friend, but it was so insightful. I was like, oh wow, like it really made me stop, because I expected just oh, that's quite funny. It was, I dreamt of them, they did something, and then I didn't dare to do it. It was a scary dream, like jumping from one building to another, and they did it with such ease. And I was like, oh, I think it's possible, but I dare not do it, right? After they did it. And then he said, oh, maybe there's a big decision coming up in your life, something that the rest of us don't really even think twice, but you're overthinking it. And then I was like, okay, I was just expecting wow, that was an interesting dream. But it was insightful, and it made me think, actually maybe that's true.
I think contemplating on dreams, right, should be part of our personal development. It should be something that we are taught in school. It's part of our I used to have this teacher who used to say our dreams are like newspaper printout of what's going on in our inner consciousness. And so I use my dreams as points of contemplation, and sometimes I feel like our dreams are a way that God or Creator speaks to us. And I would sometimes, with certain dreams, I would contemplate on it for months, because there is a lot of depth, and the connection or the resonance hasn't happened yet, and so I still need to contemplate on it. But there are certain dreams that's almost immediate, right? Like you think like, oh, this dream feels so stressful. Like, I wonder what's gonna happen, right? And then the next 2 weeks, something dramatic happens, And so usually, if the more dramatic the dream, or if there are any emotions or whatever, right, I record even the feelings and the emotions, how I feel during the dream, after the dream, and then spend quite a lot of time contemplating on a dream. So looking at symbols and all that from the dream as well. Yeah, I love dreams. I look forward to go to bed because of dreams. Yeah.
You said you dream a lot, right? Apparently, and I just read this about 2 days ago, something about if you get good quality high REM sleep, you like dreaming a lot. It's an indicator of that.
That's when you dream. REM is when you dream. Yeah.
So that means you're sleeping well.
Yeah. Funny, right? You'd think that,
the reverse
my mind is not resting. Yeah.
Exactly.
How can I be sleeping well? But you're absolutely right. It's scientifically.
The brain is detoxing. Dream is a way to show you your dream is your brain is detoxing. Yeah.
Okay.
So dreams we all dream. Even when we don't have good quality sleep, we do dream, but it's just maybe very superficial, and most of the time we don't remember them. But we all dream every night because it's part of our brain detox. Interesting, right?
Yeah.